just want to start by saying thank you for being here. Thanks for taking the time to interact with us and to learn from us. When we came up with the idea for the Start Something series, we were not planning to do it from virtually, but we are glad that it exists and we can do it virtually. So today we are talking all about social media. Let me see if I can get my screen to move. There we go. So today what we're going to be covering is social media marketing specifically for small businesses. So we will cover why social media marketing is a good choice for you as a small business. We will talk about the different social media platforms that you can use and which one makes the most sense for your business. We'll also cover how to grow your platform and get engagement. And we'll talk about how you can build relationships with your customers and followers through social media. And then finally, I'll just talk some general posting tips and different resources that are available to you. So I see we have a bunch of people introducing themselves, which is awesome. I will introduce myself. My name is Megan Sweary. I started working at the Papa John Center about 6 months ago, but before that I was running my own business and worked in that for about 3.5 years. 2.5 of those years I was actually full-time. My business's name was Home Sweet College Home, and we specialized in college care packages and especially used products from small businesses. So during that time, I wore all the hats. I did everything. I was self-taught in a lot of ways. So I mentioned that just to say, I can relate to where you're at if you're trying to do everything in your business right now. And I'm excited today to share all the information that I found and that I learned as I experimented with my own social media channels through my business. So just to talk briefly about why social media is something that is worthwhile for you as a small business owner. There are a lot of reasons, as you can see, but some of my favorites are that you can really build a community on social media, and it gives you a platform to truly listen to your customers. Along with listening, you're able to collect feedback, and you're able to create sort of influencers for your brand. So you can pay to use influencers, but you can also create influencers of your own who are super passionate about your brand because of your experience with them on social media. And it gives a face behind the business. It makes it more personal. So we're going to take some time today to talk through a bunch of different platforms. Here's a list of some that I could think of, but I'm sure there's more than this. And today we're going to talk about only 6 of them that I think are the most relevant and the most applicable to a wide range of businesses. So before jumping in and doing that, I want to get you in the right frame of mind for this. So as we're talking through each platform, I want you to be thinking about which ones your audience is already utilizing. That's the platform that you should prioritize first. So, and to keep in mind, that platform might not be the one that you enjoy using the most personally. So as we're going through each of these different social media channels, I want you to be asking yourself a few questions when thinking about if it's the right one for your business. First, ask, which platform is my target audience already active? Where are my competitors active? And where do I see those two engaging with each other the most? And then lastly, what type of information do I want to share? Because each channel specializes in a different form of content. So to keep this a little bit interactive, if you go over to participants, there's an option to raise your hand. And so what I want to do when we jump into each of these is ask you to raise your hand with that icon if you use this platform personally. This will kind of help everybody see how prevalent use is for the different platforms. So why don't we go ahead and give it a try. If you guys use Facebook personally, go ahead and raise your hand. Awesome, we're getting a lot of hand raises. So I'm going to start today with Facebook because It's one of the biggest. Facebook really specializes in interaction. That's what it's all about. On Facebook, you can interact with your followers in a couple different ways. You can either use a company page, which is more outward facing. It's where you can collect reviews, fill in the bio information, connect to your website, give hour information, fill out an extensive bio. So this is really like a face for your business. But you can also connect with them through Facebook pages, which are more of a close-knit community. It's kind of like you're inviting somebody into the room to have a conversation with you. When you're interacting on Facebook, you can post, but you're also able to actually act as your page while interacting. So for example, in my business, I had a Facebook page for Home Sweet College Home, and I would go and find other pages that my target customer was already interacting with. So I went to pages for moms of college kids or graduating seniors asking questions about what to expect from college. And I would go like posts as Home Sweet College Home. So this gave exposure for people to see me and see my brand and hopefully click through and go to my page. So just something to keep in mind as you're using Facebook. There are ways you can get creative to get yourself in front of the people you want to be. And then just to talk through some perks of Facebook. So like I said, it's a huge, diverse user base. There's actually 2.4 billion users who are active on a monthly basis. A great perk is that you can easily connect your website. If you have an e-commerce shop, you can actually have products for sale on Facebook through your website. So the two connect and people can buy directly from your Facebook page. And Facebook also has this really cool tracking tool that's called a pixel that you can input into your website in the background, and it'll track traffic for you so that you are able to do traffic targeting campaigns. So you're able to track who was on your website and then create ads that go directly to them. So you're reaching customers who are already familiar with your brand and warmed up with you and maybe more likely to buy. Another perk is that Facebook in general has a robust marketing platform. I'm going to pause because we got a question. What do you mean by easily target audience based on demographics? So what I mean is that Facebook has a ton of demographic information available, and I will actually be getting that to that in a second. So I'm just going to hold off on that. So Facebook, as we all know, we share a ton of information with Facebook. So whether you realize you're sharing it for advertising purposes or not, we all have a lot of information that we're sharing on our Facebook page and with our friends. So that's what I mean by easily target audience. Facebook has a large amount of data that users openly share with Facebook, and you are able as an advertiser to pinpoint those things. So if I'm somebody who likes to watch Netflix and I like Netflix on my Facebook page, I would be able as a company to go and target anybody who has liked Netflix on their page. I'm also able to choose their age, if they're a parent, if they went to college, if they live in a certain area. So pretty much anything you could imagine targeting, Facebook allows you to pick out and target with your ads. There's also a ton of insights that come along with your ads. So after you have done an ad campaign, Facebook collects all of the information and you're able to look back and drill down further into your target audience, try different pictures to see if you're drawing in a different audience. It really gives you a lot of information to play with and to help you figure out the best approach. And then one other interesting thing about Facebook is the Messenger feature. So this is a great way to directly interact with your customers. You're able to talk one-on-one with them as your business, and you're also able to have live or automated interactions. So if you're away, you are able to create an automated message that goes out to all your customers. The content that you can share on Facebook is pretty endless. They allow text, picture, video, live links with previews of the post. There's really no limits when it comes to content on Facebook. Facebook prioritizes posts that spark conversation. So when you're thinking about how to gain traction, that's what you should always frame your posts in the mind of that question. Is this going to spark conversation? One con of Facebook, or potential challenge, is that it is increasingly becoming a space where you have to pay to play. As Facebook ads has become more and more robust, it's been harder and harder to create organic growth. As a Facebook page, you are able to invite your friends and family, your direct connections, to like your page, and then those people can invite others to like your page. But it's pretty hard to get a total stranger to come across your page unless you have a post that goes viral, or you're doing the liking from your page like I talked about earlier. If you do have ad dollars to spend on Facebook, it's a good place to do it because there's a lot of information that you're able to collect, use, adjust. And then there's also some other notes just for your success is that most people view Facebook on their phone. So make sure all of your posts are optimized to mobile. You should also post once a day or a minimum of 3 times a week to keep relevant and keep your content staying up high within the Facebook's algorithm. And then just to note, you don't need to be boosting or investing in every single post. It is okay and should be a mix of organic and sponsored reach throughout your content. I see we have another question. Are there specific words or triggers Facebook looks for to notice the post as being one that would start conversation? That's a good question. I don't think that there is. I think that it just, if there is conversation happening, that's how it knows that it's sparking conversation. But just for you, things that usually spark conversation are a question or a call to action at the end of the post. So that's what I would lean towards using. So just an overview before we move on past Facebook. Thanks for the questions. I want this to be interactive, so that's great. Main takeaways for Facebook. It's a great space to create a community and to spark conversation. There's a huge, diverse user base that you're able to target specific demographic information about as you're investing in ads. It can be harder to grow organically, but you are able to use their great ad system. And Facebook Messenger adds a new level of interaction that is interesting to try and use. Daniel asked, I lost internet connection. Didn't you say that you can even send messages when away from the computer? Yes. First of all, we are recording this. So if you do lose connection, we are going to post this on YouTube and you can watch it all back. And also, yes, Messenger app allows you to set up an automated message so that when you are not there, you are still actively responding at a good time to questions. Awesome. Thanks for the interaction. We are going to move on to the next platform, which is Instagram. So Instagram is used mostly for visually sharing information, posts, etc. The ways you can interact with your audience through Instagram is by having a business page or account and then posting just posts in general, stories, having featured stories, or through Instagram TV. Some perks is that it is easy to grow organically. It's set up for you to grow your account organically. And it's especially great for product-based businesses or services like photographers who have a lot of things that they want to show to potential customers. Hashtags are the main tool that you can use to be discovered organically. And there are some analytics available if you do have a business account about your profile, your recent posts, and also some information about best posting times based on your followers. And then the last perk is that you really get to create like a magazine for your brand through Instagram. So your grid acts as kind of a brand display of all the things that are important to your business. And it's just an easy place for somebody to visit to get a better idea of what it is that you do. And then the primary content that you can share on Instagram is photos and videos. And then there's also space for captions, so you can add text. So the way to gain traction on Instagram is to have authentic engagement. So the algorithm on Instagram is personalized per user. So as a viewer, I'm going to see the first post I'm going to see in my grid when I sign on are all of the people that I interact with the most. So to gain following and traction and interest, you want to be creating authentic engagement with your posts, with your stories, and asking people to have conversation with you. One potential challenge or negative is that it is owned by Facebook, which isn't necessarily bad, but it does mean that you have to have a Facebook business page to be able to advertise on Instagram. And then just want to talk through some things to note for success. You can, you should be posting 1 to 2 times a day. And when you are writing your captions or speaking on Instagram videos, you want to be using your authentic brand voice. So if that seems kind of foreign to you, I would recommend you go back and watch our copywriting and branding Start Something sessions that we just finished. If you visit our YouTube page, you can see all of our past sessions. And we talk a lot about kind of how to have a brand, how to be consistent throughout. I'd also encourage you to ask for engagement during every post. So at the end of your caption, you should have a call to action asking your followers to engage with you. It's also important to take time to research the hashtags that you're using. So if you just go into the Discover page and type hashtag whatever it is, word, you're able to see what other posts are coming under that hashtag and get an idea of if that's the space that you're trying to target. I also recommend utilizing stories and taking videos of yourself talking. I know it feels silly, but I think you'd be really surprised about the interaction that you'll get from people when you are actually putting yourself out there and putting a face behind your business. So we had a couple questions. By conversation, do you mean DMs or comments on your post? Yes, all of it. So any way that people interact, even liking your photos, commenting on photos is huge, responding to your stories. You can even do polls in your stories, like the yes, no, or all of the different kind of features that they have in stories. All of that is going to help you in the algorithm to be showing that you have engagement from your followers. Then we got the question, how do you find when the best time to post on Instagram is? So in your account, you can, if you have a business account, there is analytics in the background. I can send out, this brings up a good question actually. So we're probably not going to be able to get into the nitty-gritty like that during this session just because we don't have a ton of time. But if you would be interested in a 45-minute session on each of the different platforms to get more into the actual details of how things like how to find the best posting time based on your followers, go ahead and drop a comment and we will try and get those out to you as well. So just a quick overview for Instagram to kind of sum it all up. It's a visual platform. You can grow organically here. And if you have something, a product or a service that is visual, this is a great place for you to be. All right, next we're going to talk about Twitter. So let's do the little hand raise thing again. If you use Twitter personally, go ahead and raise your little hand. Thanks everybody for the participation. So Twitter is best at informative, short, and frequent interactions. So if you are a business that has a lot of content that you push out frequently and you can put it into short form, Twitter's a great spot for you. The ways that you can interact using Twitter are just on your Twitter feed. So you'll just create a regular Twitter account and name it as your business and fill out the bio and the picture to reflect that it's your business. Some perks of Twitter is that it is great for companies that have a lot of content to share. For example, if you're in the news space or have a blog or write a lot about sports, this could be a great spot for you to be utilizing. It's really good for real-time updates, and a lot of companies actually use it for customer service. I will say, small disclaimer on this, if you don't have the manpower to be continually checking your Twitter feed and looking for people who have commented to you, I wouldn't recommend using it for customer service right away. It's important on Twitter that you're frequently posting and involved and staying in contact with your followers. So customer service might be something to hold off on until you have more manpower. Twitter also uses hashtags for discovery, similar to Instagram. And like I said, the content on Twitter is primarily text, but you do also have the ability to share pictures, videos, or links. So how you gain traction on Twitter is mostly to be really active. So you need to maintain an active presence, not only by tweeting, but also by engaging with others and using hashtags. One potential challenge is that there is a character limit. So each tweet is limited to 280 characters. And then some things to note for success are that the most common topics are news, entertainment, sports, and politics. You should post at least 3 times a day. And if your tweet doesn't really get picked up and interacted with, the general life is about 15 minutes before it disappears from the feeds. There are multiple feeds that Twitter has. They've changed their algorithm and the way they work a lot over the years, but now they just have multiple feeds that users can flip between. So there's one that is top tweets, which is run by an algorithm similar to the others, ranking it based on engagement. Then there's a latest tweets segment where it's based just chronologically. And then there's also, in case you missed it, happening now and trends for you, where users can go and that will be customized to what they interact with the most, what they like, what they engage with. Let's see, we have some questions. Are Twitter and Instagram hashtags always the same? So what a hashtag is the same across the board. It's the same meaning. It's just a keyword with a pound symbol in front of it. But the hashtags that are going to perform well on Instagram might be different than Twitter. They don't talk to each other. So a keyword on Instagram could, or a hashtag on Instagram that's really popular might not be popular on Twitter. We got another question. What do you mean by traction? Kind of like engagement. Yes, so if people are responding to your tweet, liking your tweet, or retweeting, that's kind of how they view it as being something that people are interested in. Kind of a trick here as well, so you can kind of fool Twitter. If you have a tweet that you really want to get out there and it doesn't really get much traction in the first half hour, you can actually go and retweet your own tweet to help it repopulate at the top of the timeline for the latest tweets feed. Are all of those different views in Twitter found in the home page? A couple of them are found in the home page, and some of them you have to go to a different screen. I think Trends for You is on a different screen, happening for now. As in the best for you, you missed. Yes, so in case you missed it, it might not show up for all users. That's for people who are really active on Twitter. Happening now and Trends for You, I think, is in a separate section. But you don't really need to worry about the sections because you won't be choosing which section your tweet goes to. Twitter will just automatically flow your tweets into those sections if the algorithm tells it that it should. Hopefully that makes sense. Thank you for all the questions. That's great. So just to kind of give an overview, Twitter is for informative, short, and frequent interactions. There is a character limit, and real-time updates and customer service are two things that a lot of companies use Twitter for. So next we're going to talk about LinkedIn. If you guys have a personal LinkedIn page, why don't you raise your hand? Awesome, thank you. So LinkedIn is best for professional interaction. To interact on LinkedIn as a business, you can either create a page for your business, or you can interact as an employee of your business from your personal page. A couple of reasons why a business page might be good for your business is that it then allows employees to tag your business as their employer. And it also allows them to tag your business as you are, if they're posting about something at work or an article that you posted. It also allows you to share information about your business and to create a community online, mostly to attract talent. So some perks on LinkedIn is that it is a great place to attract talent. A lot of people go to LinkedIn to find a job. It's also really good for business to business marketing. So if your product or service is meant for businesses, LinkedIn might be a good place for you to be advertising. It's also great for if you want to target consumers based on their job titles. So for example, let's say I have a brand new marketing software and I want to reach out to anybody who's the head of marketing in a company. LinkedIn would be a spot that I could identify that. You're also able to write articles and share posts from your website. And it's really a great space for you to establish thought leadership and authority in an industry as your business. Somebody asked, company pages are used to attract talent. Yes, they can be. You can create job postings and post them through your business profile. And also it's a good spot just for if people have questions about your business, they can go and find more information about your business. So the content that lives on LinkedIn is primarily articles, but people also post congratulatory, tagging fellow colleagues, or I just got a new job photo or video. So LinkedIn allows all content, but I would say most of it is usually articles. The way that you gain traction on LinkedIn is by sharing relevant information and again, encouraging interaction, which as you can see is a theme through all these channels. The main goal of any of your information is that it relates back to whatever your business topic revolves around and creates expertise. So it gives people the feeling and comfort that you know what you're talking about in the space that your business is in. One challenge is that it is primarily used for professional interaction. So if your business is customer facing, this probably isn't the right space for you. But it could be something in the future that without putting a lot of time or effort into it, you could create a business page so that as you bring on employees, they're able to tag your business as their employer. But I would not say it's like a top tier need for your business to be successful. And then some other things to note for your success. You should be posting once per business day, but that also includes sharing somebody else's content, which is true across all these other platforms as well. Just be sure that you're sharing content that still falls within the realm of the topic or the theme of your business. And then again, you just want to make sure that you're sharing content and writing content that shows that you're an industry expert. So in overview, it's a professional platform. You can attract talent and create a hub for your employees. And it also is a great space to establish thought leadership or do business to business marketing. Any questions on LinkedIn? Awesome. Next, we're going to talk about YouTube. So most people probably don't have a YouTube account, but if you watched a YouTube video in the last month, go ahead and raise your hand. Awesome. Lots of people raising their hands. So YouTube is best at video. The way you can interact on YouTube as a business is to create a YouTube channel under your business name and then post videos. Some perks are Well, the main one I think is that content lives on forever and can be found much later. So unlike Twitter or Instagram or Facebook, viewers don't have to scroll through your old content to come across something that you created a couple years ago. They could search in Google for the keyword and your video might be populated as the most relevant choice. So this is really a place where your content becomes evergreen and it can continue to be interacted with long after you post it. Another great perk is that YouTube acts as a search engine. It's actually the second biggest search engine after Google. And so if you have a keyword that you really want to get discovered on, YouTube's a great place to have videos streaming. And then lastly, it utilizes Google as an advertising platform. So that really gives you a lot of variety and a robust marketing platform to be using. Like I said, the content is mostly video, but there is room for text within the descriptions and captions of the videos. So things for success to note. Oh, first, gain traction. Sorry, get a little off. So to gain traction, YouTube's all about SEO or search engine optimization. So every time you post a video, you need to be paying attention to your title, your description, and the keywords that you set up in the background, and make sure those are matching what your customers' search terms might be. One con is that it is hard to build a community. That's really not what YouTube was created to be. So there might be multiple people following you or subscribing to your channel, but they may never actually interact with each other. And then some things for success. It is really important to be optimizing your searchability for each video. After you created a professional video and edit it and all of that, you're not done. You still need to do research on what keywords people might be searching for to help your video get discovered. It's also important to share your link across different social media channels, on your website, etc., to get it out as much as you can. And then at the end of the video, encourage interaction in the comments by having a call to action. Another kind of bonus points thing is to include subtitles for sound-free viewing. Some people may be watching videos where they're not able to have volume up, so that's just a nice alternative for them to still watch your video. So in conclusion, YouTube is all about video. You can use Google advertising, which is a huge plus, and searchability is the name of the game, so you really need to be paying attention to your keywords. And then lastly, we're going to talk about Pinterest. Pinterest, so let's do raise your hand again if you use Pinterest personally. Pinterest, I think, is a social media channel that gets forgotten a lot, but it's a great place to be discovered. What Pinterest is best at is really helping users discover new brands and inspiring them. You can interact with users on Pinterest by having a Pinterest page and setting up as your business. And then you post pins on your different boards. So some perks are that it's super easy to grow organically. As soon as you start to gain some reach, your growth is exponential on Pinterest. It is actually a search engine. People are actively going to Pinterest to seek inspiration, find new products, or get the answer to a question that they have. If you're in the creative industry or your business caters to females, this is especially important for you to be here. And the main goal for Pinterest is really to drive traffic outside of the website. Every single pin is an active link that directs you away from Pinterest. So there's an opportunity to drive a ton of traffic to your website. And then another perk is that followers aren't forced to follow everything you do, like on the other channels. They're actually able to follow individual boards or topics to help them really curate their own feed based on their interests. And then the content that you share is images primarily, but those have captions, and then most importantly, those should have links. I got a question, where do you put the keywords? So keywords should go in the metadata for the picture, in the caption for the photo, and then you can actually add keywords to your boards, description, and your bio, which we'll talk about a little here next. So how to gain traction on Pinterest is frequently pinning high quality content that has optimized images, that includes keywords, and most importantly has good links. One potential con is that it does take a lot of content being generated to get noticed, but that doesn't have to all be content that you create. You're able to share people's content that's related to what you are doing. Another thing to note is that it's important not to spam on Pinterest. So I wouldn't encourage you to once a week go and spend an hour just repinning a bunch of things. It's actually better to schedule repins and your own pins to be consistently through time. Now, I don't expect you to spend 24 hours a day consistently posting one pin at a time on Pinterest. So there are tools. One that's well known is called Tailwind, that allows you to schedule posts and pin regularly to help you fall higher on Pinterest's algorithm. And then some other things for success. Search engine optimization is super important in each post. So that's where you can write it, the board description and your bio for your page. Each post allows you to have a caption. So those are all good places to be putting it in. It's also important to note that visual and inspirational content does best, and that the audience is mostly female. Something that I think is really awesome about Pinterest is that 78% of users say the content from brands is useful, which is much higher than any other platform. People are actively seeking out content from brands, whereas other platforms, sometimes it can feel more like brands are ranked lower and not what people are hoping to find. And then it's also important just to know that pin images need to be a 2 to 3 size ratio, so that they need to be long and skinnier so that they cover the most space on Pinterest as you're flying through it. Somebody said Pinterest is an incredible tool for bloggers as well. Key place to share content if you blog. Yes, totally agree. If you haven't looked into Pinterest, I would say this would be a great place for you to start looking. It's a huge market of people who are interested in content and actually seeking it out. And then last thing, Pinterest is primarily, the most searched topics are food recipes, lifestyle, how-to articles, wedding inspiration, and outfit ideas. But Pinterest also allows you to research keywords. So if you go into the search bar on Pinterest, it'll populate the top 10 searches or the things that are currently trending. You're also able to start typing in a word. So let's say I want to post about social media. I could type in social, and Pinterest will auto-fill the words to show me the most searches based on who is searching that the most. So they're in order of most to least searches. You can also do that on places like Google and YouTube as well. So when you're thinking about keywords, that's a good place to start, is just start typing it into one of the search bars and see what auto-populates to give you an idea of what people are searching. Oops. Awesome. So I know we covered a lot. I'm going to send the presentation out after so you can collect all the information, but just an overview, Instagram and Facebook are great for creating community. Twitter's a great place if you have a lot to say. LinkedIn's a professional platform. YouTube's a great place to show people what you do. And Pinterest is a good place to inspire and get discovered. So now it's your turn. In the chat, why don't you share your business, and I'll pick a couple businesses that I will kind of work with to help choose what social media channel I would maybe start with. I got a question. Thoughts on Snapchat? Snapchat is a good resource if you are targeting a younger audience. It's a little harder to grow a following in the same way that like a Twitter or a Facebook or an Instagram has, but you are able to do sponsored stories and to interact with people one-on-one. So if you are targeting a younger audience, Snapchat could be something worth your time looking into. Thanks for the question. Anybody have a business they want to talk about? Awesome. School-based telehealth services. Business is called Classroom Clinic. Awesome. So what age would you say you're targeting for the classroom clinic? Is that for like nurses or schools in general or individuals? School districts. Awesome. So I would say that would fall under a business to business. So if you aren't already on LinkedIn, I think that that would be a great place for you to look into. And if you don't already have a Facebook page, you could also start interacting with those school districts through your Facebook page and try and reach out to them that way. So that would give you a couple different options. Thanks, Sue. John says, my business is a fishing lure business. Our name is Quarterworm Lures LLC. Awesome, John. I think that a great place for you would be Facebook or Instagram even, because you have products that you want to show. And I think YouTube would be a huge win for you as well. Showing videos of people interacting with your product, using your product, and showing what really makes your product different. Awesome. Well, because of time, I'm going to move on, but I will respond to everybody by the end and let you know what I would suggest for social media channels. And if you guys want to interact with each other too, that's awesome. So now I'm just going to give you some general tips. All of these can be even more personalized and drilled down into by channel, but just for giving general information, I'm going to give you general tips. So the main thing about a small business is that small business marketing is actually relationship marketing. So it is really important to be nurturing your followers. A good rule of thumb is to give to your customers 3 times more than you're selling. So for example, offer freebies or informative blog posts or tutorials or tricks and hacks or entertaining videos that align with what it is that you're offering. Really warm up your customers and create trust with them before you try and sell them on your product. Next thing that's super important is consistency is key. I know it's super easy to just want to do every channel and feel this need to be on every single social media platform. I made that mistake with my business when I first started, but it is actually more important to be doing one platform well than engaging with all of the platforms kind of subpar. So it's important to go in one channel at a time and have a good plan to post consistently. The things that need to be consistent are your voice, your tone, your style of writing to match your business. It's also important that you have a posting schedule so you know when you're going to post and maybe plan the month out in advance before it comes. All of your photos and images should also align with your branding. And then it's also super important that your interactions with your audience are on brand as well, that you're using that same tone of voice. And engagement in general is just as important as regular posting. So when you post a picture, be sure that you schedule in time to also go back and respond to comments or interact with people who are looking at your photo, because that is really how you will continue to grow. And then I recommend having a content schedule, which I think would be, the thing I think is helpful is to think of like 5 to 7 topics that you might rotate between in your posts to kind of help kickstart your thinking process as you're brainstorming what you want to cover. And one of those topics should always be you as the small business owner. So just some tools to help you with posting is this is not even close to a comprehensive list, but here are just some really common ones. Scheduling and planning apps include Hootsuite, Later, Fanoli, or Tailwind. And then there's also great online resources for free photos that are free for professional use. So some of those are Unsplash, all the free stock in Pixabay. And then if you are not a Photoshop user, which is fine, you can use Canva to create professional looking graphics. Canva actually has preset sizes for things like Pinterest photos, Instagram posts, Instagram stories. So they have all those sizes optimized for you already set up. How would you define branding? So that's a great question. We just covered that in one of our last Start Something series. So I'm going to direct you to our YouTube channel just for time reasons. But Grayson talked a ton about branding, scrappy branding for your small business, and things that you can do on a budget to create a brand. So now we're just going to talk quickly about what type of things you want to post. As a small business, people are interested in your story. That's really what makes you unique and different from a big business. So be sure to share you. Show pictures of your face, share fun facts, talk about yourself, tell the people what you like to do, give them insight into you as a business owner. Also be sure to share your why. Why did you start the business? Why are you passionate about it? If you have a team, share their faces and tell a little bit about them. Share behind the scenes. People are really interested about where it is that you do business, or seeing your creative process to create that new t-shirt or whatever it is. And then ask for feedback. Your followers are going to be even more interested to buy if their feedback's taken into consideration. So maybe put a story on Instagram that asks which color they want for the new offering that you have. Allow for that interaction and welcome it, and ask for that in your posts. And then just to talk a little bit about how to gain followers. The most important thing to always keep in mind is that you need to be creating high quality content that is relevant to your customer. If you do nothing else, that is the most important. It's also really important to post consistently, and that could be once a week. That doesn't mean you have to post every day or every hour or even at the same time every week. Just in general, try and be consistent about the number of posts you have per week. Be sure that you're engaging with your followers and responding to comments, and also engage with other businesses. That could be competition. That could be people in your community or other businesses that you personally support. Just share the love and engage as much as you can. Also, make sure that you're sharing content from other businesses that might be interested in reaching out to your customer base. So do as much as you can to help each other out and collaborate. And then you could also, especially when you're starting out, follow your ideal clients. So this kind of helps them see you and helps you get a kickstart for followers. And then, like I've talked about throughout the presentation, really make sure you're taking time to research hashtags and keywords and using them in your captions. And then you can also watch relevant hashtags and see what people are talking about and engage in those posts. Sean asked, should you like your competition's posts? Yeah, I don't see any reason not to, unless you don't feel comfortable doing that. I mean, I wouldn't encourage you to do it if you feel like you're major rivals, but I like to think that there's enough room for all of the small businesses and that everybody has something really special to offer. And the more that we support each other and create a good, supportive small business community, the better. So I wouldn't be afraid to like or engage with your competition. And then just some other tips, use consistent usernames across your social networks so that it's easy for people to find you on other channels. And then also feel free to share your content across multiple channels and more than once. Most people are not going to see every single thing you post, so it is okay to post about something more than once. Just change the picture or adjust the caption a little bit so that it doesn't feel super repetitive, but you don't have to constantly be coming up with novel things to be sharing. Make sure that you're completing all of the company information, the bio, adding pictures, any resources that they allow you to use on these social platforms. Make sure that you're putting your information in there. And then, like I said, show your face. People want to know you as a small business owner. And then just specifically about the different kinds of content you can put out. For videos, I recommend having closed captioning, especially on platforms like Facebook, where people are scrolling by and maybe not necessarily going to listen out loud. Another place I find this really effective is Instagram stories. So when you're talking, I sometimes will scroll right by, but if they have captions, that can sometimes slow me down enough to actually watch the video and read what it is that they're talking about. For photos, it's important that you're posting professional, high quality images that align with your brand. And for captions, make sure that you're using your brand voice, you're talking to your customers, and always, always, always include a call to action at the end. And that can even just be double tap if you like this. And then lastly, just link your social media accounts everywhere you can think of. So link them on your website, put them in your email signature, and also feel free to share them in the bios of your other accounts. And with that, that's all the information I have to share with you. I'll open it up now for questions. And I also just want to say that feel free to reach out. If you want to talk more about your specific social media strategy with me, I would be happy to meet with you and talk via Zoom or email or phone. So don't be afraid to reach out. Diana had a good tip. She said, I learned today that Facebook has a free booking appointment service. If you have a Facebook business page, it might be helpful for anybody who sells, who used to sell in-store or wants to offer virtual appointments. Yeah, great. Dan asks, is the best place to include keywords in the caption? It is one of the best places. If we're talking like Instagram specifically, yes. Facebook, yes. Places where that is the only option to input information, yes. I would also encourage you to use hashtags in the caption on the platforms that allow that, because that indicates that it's a keyword. Anthony asks, what is a good amount of time to aim for to block out for spending on social media marketing per week? That is a good question, and it depends on how many social channels you have and how often you plan to post. So I would start by sitting down and planning out 2 weeks and timing yourself and getting a rough idea of how long it takes you. I would say 1 to 2 hours should be probably enough to at least get a solid outline and some captions written up, or at least find photos. Again, it really depends on how much content you're trying to push out and how many platforms you are going to be engaging on. Diana dropped a survey link for everybody to fill out in the chat. So if you guys have feedback, good and bad, constructive, we want all of it. If you could take some time to fill out, there's only 5 or 6 questions. That'd be super helpful for us. What about keywords on YouTube, mainly in the meta description? I'm not really sure what you mean by that, but I would say keywords in general, especially on YouTube, I would sit back and think, what would my ideal viewer be searching for that this video would then populate? And at the same time be thinking, what are like the main things in my video that I'm answering or addressing? You can also start typing in words and see how much, like what the rest of the wording is. I hope I answered that, Daniel. Let me know if I didn't. But yeah, I think it's the same across all the platforms. And also like how you would do SEO on your website, just be thinking through what are search terms people would be using that would get them to this video and have it be relevant content. Sean asks, can you reshare the same photo every few months? Yes, there's no reason not to. Really the only reason that might be weird is if you have the same photo posted right next to each other on a timeline or in your grid. But after, like for Instagram, for example, after the first 9 photos, it really becomes a clean slate again, because everything below that you have to scroll to find. I would say if you're posting every day or every couple of days and you share the same photo every few months, they will never come that close in contact, and I think that's totally fine. Any other questions? Thank you guys for joining us today. I hope it was helpful, and like I said, please feel free to reach out. I have a lot of information to share on the topic and would love to help you with your specific business. And again, if you are interested in more information about specific channels, or if you have any other topics that you want us to cover during these webinars, please let us know. We're working to expand this out and continue offering more on webinar form for you all while we're all in our own homes. And I just want to mention, we do have 2 more currently in our series. The landing page 101 is happening on April 15th. We're going to talk through landing pages and why you should have one and basics on how to build one. And then on April 21st, we're also going to be talking about email marketing and newsletters and how those can serve your business. So I'll stay on for a little bit longer and see if there's any more questions, but if not, that's all the content I had for today. We welcome any feedback. Thank you guys so much for joining us, and reach out to me if you want to talk more about your business.